Hello and welcome to Prime News. Now a look at the headlines. Prime Minister champions idea of federalism while discussing restructuring of Planning Commission, decides to give more rights to states while formulating policies. Land acquired for special economic zones denotified but price appreciation benefited developers. Observe CAG, Goa's compromise formula in question. Striking workers increase deadline by one more day. Public meeting at Azad Maidan on Tuesday. Threaten fast unto death if demands aren't met. Response to elections in Jammu and Kashmir made separatist elements desperate. Terror attacks seeing response to polls. Will give befitting reply, assures Parrikar. And airport authorities set up counter for tourists to grant visa on arrival facility. Tourists will be charged $40 as official fees to avail facility. Now the news in detail. Championing the idea of federalism, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed on giving more authority to states while restructuring Planning Commission. He also mentioned the immense contribution of private sector in shaping the economy. Prime Minister stated that each state has different needs. Strengthening states would eventually strengthen the nation. He was addressing the meeting of chief ministers of different states on reshaping Planning Commission.
There are three different teams. The Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers is one. The Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers is the second. And the Prime Minister and the bureaucracy is the third. A combination of this constitutes Team India, which effectively administers the country. And therefore, it is this combination of Team India which should be reflected in the alternative restructured model of the Planning Commission. The thrust of the alternative is to promote cooperative federalism. He believed that the process of policy planning has to now change from top to bottom to top. He also mentioned that the think tanks outside the government structure also have a very important role in the life of the country. And therefore, in order to expand economic activity and make sure that we are able to play an effective role in the development of the country, this role has to be reinvented. There was a larger consensus to the effect that the context has changed. There is a need to decentralize both power and planning. States have to be strengthened. Most chief ministers felt that you can have a centrally conceived scheme and asked all chief ministers to implement it. But there is a fallacy that one size will fit all the states. That doesn't happen. The requirements of each state are different. And the states know what suits them best. So the strategy has to be to empower the states.
Also एक forum तयार जातो जिथे पंतप्रधान असतो आणि सगळ्या राज्याचे मुख्यमंत्री असते. हो तो आता तयार जाता तो असो आणि आमका आमच्या प्रायोरिटीनुसार खर्च करपाक मेळचे.
राज्याक बसता तश्यो स्किमी.
हां म्हणजे आमका आमच्या डिपार्टमेंटाक स्किमी करपाक मेळच्यो न्ही. नाजाल्यार कशा स्किमी तेंची आणि त्या स्किमी प्रमाणे मागीर आमकां ते पयशे मेळूंक जाय म्हणून आमी कितें तरी करता. म्हाका दिसता 80% मुख्यमंत्र्यांनी हीच भूमिका वेगळी उदाहरणां दिवन सांगली.
In a report flaying the SEZ policy, the CAG has said large tracts of land acquired for special economic zones were denotified, but the resultant price appreciation benefited the developers. The Goa government is contemplating a compromise formula with the SEZ developers to get back the notified land of 38 lakh square meters blocked in the denotified SEZs. The government is also battling the matter in the courts. Can such a formula pass the CAG's test? Watch this special report.
I want a clear-cut answer.
whether the government is making a deal with them or not. Or we are going to fight it tooth and nail. हुईतरी जमीन आमकां पोत्ती मेळपाची टोटल यहाँ फुल लँड मेळपा चान्सेस आहा. Why we should give 30%?
पहिली गजाल हांवें त्याच दिसा सांगलेलें की these are various options. They are not finalized. Number 2, लफडी हांच्यांनी करपाची. आमी सोडयतात ती आतां.
The government's deals with the SEZ promoters have come under the scanner of CAG. The CAG report has been tabled in the parliament. The Apex Editor General has passed serious strictures on the centre's SEZ policy vis-a-vis the modus operandi of the SEZ developers. Several hectares of land acquired for special economic zones invoking public purpose were later sold off or used for other purposes. CAG says, "We noted a trend wherein developers approached government for allotment purchases of vast areas of land in the name of SEZ. However, only fraction of land so acquired was notified for SEZ, and later denotification was also restored to within few years to benefit from price appreciation. Many tracts of land acquired were not serving objectives of the SEZ Act." Goa's 38 lakh square meter land is at stake, where SEZ promoters have invested almost 150 crores. The then Chief Minister was questioned on the proposed compromise formula on the floor of the House.
But we'll take back most of that land. Maybe some small quantity will be given to them because they have invested money. Their money is also stuck up for 10-12 years. एक 30% बी अशी जमीन तांकां SEZ-आक न्हय पण परत सांगता. For what Goa government want, they can develop for that project if they want.
Rajya Sabha MP Shantaram Naik too has questioned such a move. He calls it a fraud, saying SEZ land has to be fully reverted back to the owners or can be utilized only for public projects.
This government, present government at national, they are soft towards industrialists. They are soft towards any industrialist coming. They are soft. They want to give them as much concession as possible. That is Adani principle. Adani principle means the way the central government has favored Adani in Gujarat, that principle they are going to apply everywhere and they are going to solve. Therefore, this is what is happening.
Rakhamantri Parrikar is yet to resolve and settle several contentious issues in Goa as promised by the BJP in the poll manifesto. Taking back the SEZ land from the developers is one amongst the many. Will Parrikar's formula pass the CAG's test? Bureau Report, Prudent.
Voting percentage in Jammu and Kashmir election proved resolve of Kashmiris to stand by Indian democracy. This disturbed the nerves of the elements who were controlling terrorism from Pakistan. Rakhamantri Manohar Parrikar said that the terror attacks were orchestrated out of desperation. Parrikar also assured that India will give organized and strong reply to these elements. Parrikar also announced that Air Force will get 40 Tejas Mach 2 aircrafts by February.
ज़्यादा करके मुझे लगता है कि जो वोटिंग हुई है 72% तक जो 2 राउंड में वोटिंग हो गई, कश्मीर भारत के मेन स्ट्रीम में आ रहा है, इसका सिग्नल है. कम वोटिंग हो गया तो नॉर्मली ये वोटिंग रिपोर्ट किया जाता है इंटरनेशनल फोरम पे कि वहाँ डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस बराबर नहीं चल रहा है. लेकिन जब 72% वोटिंग होता है और वो झारखंड से भी ज़्यादा होता है, उस समय ये तो क्लियर सिग्नल था कि लोगों को एज अ नेशन इन इंडिया उनको डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस में भाग लेना है. उससे जो टेररिस्ट को हैंडल करने वाले लोग हैं और वो पाकिस्तान में हैं, उनके देयर नर्व्स वेर डिस्टर्ब्ड एंड दे मेड डेस्परेट अटेम्प्ट. दिस इज डेस्परेशन.
Lieutenant General Subrata Saha informed that weapons, foods and medicines recovered from terrorists were manufactured in Pakistan.
The markings on the warlike and logistics stores, whether it was food, whether it is ammunition, whether it is medicines, whether it's clothes, quite clearly indicate that they are all of Pakistan manufacture and origin. It is not a routine or an ordinary infiltration. It is linked with the larger events that are taking place here.
Rakhamantri Parrikar assured that India will give an organized and strong reply to the terrorists.
I'll only indicate to you our response will be well organized and strong. But one thing I assure you, that there will be proper countermeasure.
Parrikar also assured that Indian Air Force will get 40 Tejas aircraft by February 2015. Parrikar further announced that Tejas Mach 2 will be added to the Indian Air Force in coming years as replacement.
तेजस इनिशियल ऑपरेशन क्लियरेंस के लिए तेजस क्लियर हो गया है दिसंबर 2013। अभी थोड़े थोड़े छोटे छोटे मामले हैं वो निपटा रहे हैं और उसके बाद में तेजस अराउंड फरवरी एयरफोर्स में दाखिल हो जाएगा। इनिशियली वी हैव प्लेस्ड ऑर्डर फॉर 20+20 40 एंड बाद में मार्क 2 तेजस बन रहा है। उसके बनने के बाद नेक्स्ट ईयर से बाकी भी रिप्लेसमेंट चालू हो जाएगा।
Senior reporter Lokik Shilkar with video journalist Dinesh Karpe for Prudent.
Robbers have finally hit the capital city. A jewellery shop in Panji was robbed of 7 lakh rupees cash and a gold chain worth 36,000. Govind Salkar, resident of Santa Cruz and proprietor of Salkar Jewellers in Panjim Market, has complained to the Panjim police that 2 unknown persons entered his shop and threatened him at knife point and decamped with the loot. It's time for a short break. Stay tuned.